Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you...
Welcome back to the Football Experience. This is episode 20. We haven't done a podcast for about 2 months, whatever, but
it's been the off season, so it's okay.
Yeah, we've been preparing for this podcast, and no one's just done their table prediction 5 minutes ago.
In all fairness, like, we would have put this out before the season. That was the plan. However, the internet in Lanzarote isn't very good.
In the bin.
Yeah, it's in the bin. So we're doing it now, and to be honest, I don't care.
Don't care about our many fans.
I care, but just, I feel like it's just as important to do one now. We've given it a couple of weeks to sort of see how teams are doing, and we can give a fair reflection on the current squads.
Exactly. So let's get straight into the table prediction. So let's start off with number 20. Who have you got for 20th?
See, it was the toss-up between two teams, two newly promoted teams. I've gone with Norwich. I think they're going to do it again.
I've gone with Brentford for bottom.
Okay. Yeah, so firstly, we'll just talk about Norwich then for the one I did. I don't mind Norwich. I think they've brought in some good players for their level. I think they'll do better than they did the first time, maybe. Not positional wise, clearly, as I'm putting them 20th. But I think they're a better team, and maybe I am underestimating them purely because I've just seen them play against Liverpool and Man City so far.
Do they have any players who you think will stand out for them?
I mean, for me, obviously, as a Chelsea fan, I'm really excited to see how Gilmour does, playing, really consistent football. He's played the odd game here and there for Chelsea, but I'm really glad to see him, getting some proper game time. And hopefully he'll stand out when he's not playing against someone like City or Liverpool.
Yeah, definitely. So I've gone with Brentford bottom, and they haven't had great signings. If you have a look, they've signed someone from Salisbury, got a few Rangers players. They got Miles Harris.
Yeah,
Chelsea,
he's a Chelsea youngster. I think he's only in their youth team at the moment, so he won't be sort of too influential on their team as a whole. But I think, because they've got Ayer from Celtic. I think he's a decent centre back. He's decent sort of for their level.
Yeah.
As much as I'd love to see Brentford do really well, and to be fair, they've started off decently. They haven't lost yet in the 2 games, so fair play to them. But their signings are, you see them making signings from the lower teams, Celtic, and Danish teams. Their 2 best signings are probably the Celtic geezer and Onyeka from Midtjylland.
Yeah,
they're the 2 that have been playing for them, I think. So I mean, I do hope they do well, because first season came in against Arsenal after 70 odd years being out of the Premier League. It would be good. It would be good to see them.
It would be good to see them stay up.
Yeah, I don't think they quite have the squad for that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I said obviously Norwich. Obviously, the first time around they had a good start. Timo Pukki was scoring goals left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Hasn't quite been the case so far this year. However, they have signed Gilmour on loan. They have signed Brandon Williams on loan. I don't know how good he'll be at a club like Norwich, but it'll be interesting to see. Same with Reece Williams from Liverpool.
Yeah, they got a few players that are going to have to perform if they want to
Yeah, Rashica from Bremen. He's pretty decent.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got a few good new players. Josh Sargent as well. He hasn't played in the league so far, I don't think, but he scored 2 in their cup game last night.
Okay.
So that could be good for them. However, you can't really look past the loss of Emiliano Buendia.
Yeah.
He's obviously probably was their best player coming up. And they will miss him, realistically.
Yeah, definitely. Who have you got in the 19th position?
I have Brentford, so obviously we've talked through them, so we'll talk through.
Well, my one's a bit debatable, but I got Watford.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I just have a feeling that even though they've had some decent signings with like Danny Rose, Josh King, I just think it's going to be a situation where the team just doesn't work well together.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not too sort of. I don't know too much about many of their signings. Like you say, Josh King's good. Dennis has been starting for them. He scored in the first game, I think. They have some young sort of players that are coming through, like Sarr, and I don't want to spoil it, but I do think they will stay up personally. But yeah. They're definitely, they're one of the teams that have come up. They've made quite a few signings, but most of them are sort of just fringe youth players, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens because they've signed quite a few. I think quite a few of their players may just be for the squad depth. Because, like, James Morris, honestly, I've got no clue who he is. He's from Southampton.
I think the thing is, a lot of these, the website we're using to look at the transfers has all like the youth ones as well. So all of I don't know how young they go, but you could sign like a 16-year-old who's just going to join the youth academy, and they'll still be on there.
I assume what it's got is if they technically signed a contract and they're like old enough to play in the league, then that's probably just put on here. Is what I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, Watford have made a couple of proper signings. I think is really what you're going off.
Yeah. So let's go down to 17th. I've put Burnley there. Who have you put, Louis?
I have also put Burnley, actually. It was a tough one because Sean Dyche usually just keeps them up every time.
I think it's getting harder and harder as the years go on to.
Yeah,
to do the same style.
I'm a fan of Dwight McNeil, but I don't think he'll be enough to keep them up. I don't think really any of their signings are going to make any difference.
Same Wayne Hennessy as well.
Who's realistically he is only going to be a backup.
Yeah.
If you look through, who have they lost anyone important? I don't know if Ben Gibson played much. But he's gone Norwich. I just, Burnley are just that team that are like, they're just there and they play a sort of, as they say, the Brexit style of football.
Yeah, it's very boring style of football, but it tends to work. But I think as the years go on, it's getting harder and harder to play the same style and not spend so much money and get away with it.
I think that's the thing. Like, you look at all the teams around them, and everyone else has, at least strengthened a little bit over the years, and I don't think Burnley really have. Their only sort of strengths have come from, youth players like McNeil and like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. I can't see them staying up either.
Yeah. So let's move on to 17th. So the team that just survives. I've actually gone with Newcastle. Who have you gone with?
I had Newcastle there and I switched it. Switched Palace in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a bit unsure of Palace. I watched them against Chelsea in the first game, and they looked really shaky. Obviously, they're a team of, parts made up at the moment. And I'm also not completely convinced with Vieira.
Yeah,
as
that's
a manager.
That's fair point.
No, I don't know too much about how his style of play or anything, but I think he's got a lot of parts that are coming together where they lost half of their team at the end of last season. Van Aanholt's gone, Cahill's gone. There's a lot more, but I'm forgetting half of them. But
yeah, his win percentage is 41, is like around 40% at New York and at Nice as well. So it's not
I think Premier League is a different level in a way, though.
No, but I would have in those leagues. Those two teams are a lot better in those leagues. So you would really you're going to want a win percentage of much higher.
Yeah. To be fair, like you look at Palace's sign. I'm not against a lot of their signings. To be fair, I think they've made some decent signings. I think Klein isn't a bad signing.
Yeah.
He's not at his best or anything, but he's still a decent right back. You're looking at Elise from Reading. I don't know too much about him, but I've heard he's quite a good young player. And then obviously 2 Chelsea players, one on loan, Guehi and Gallagher.
Yeah.
Who I know, 2 decent players as well. Both. Okay. Guehi went for 20 million, which is quite a lot for a player that's never played Premier League football.
Yeah.
But, I think they've made some decent signings. I think it's just about whether Vieira can make them work together.
Yeah. So
I think that will.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think that will be the difference between them staying up or going down this year, whether he can get them to work.
Yeah, because the reason I've got Newcastle, if you look at their signings, like Joe Willock, good signing. Apart from that, not really anyone. So it's Cameron Ferguson, Romy Savage, and Charlie Willett, which I don't know if they may just be academy ones.
Yeah, I'd say they probably are just young players. I haven't heard of them. They haven't lost anyone important either. Most of the people are just people that have been released. Still got some Maximin, which is vital for them, I think. And obviously Willett came in and did really well at the end of last season on loan.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Now they've got him permanently. That'll be a good signing, I think, for them.
So let's move down to 16th. Who have you put at 16th, Lou?
I put Newcastle.
I've actually put Southampton 16th.
Oh, okay. So Southampton. Obviously, the big difference from last year, no Danny Ings. How do you think that'll have an impact on Saints?
Well, I know Adam Armstrong's played alright, and hopefully he could, carry it on. But because it's his first time in the Premier League, because I wrote this down before the first game, so not have a player who like Danny Ings, who you kind of expect to score at least 16, 17 goals, if not more. It's kind of hard to think how we can survive. If Adam Armstrong drops form, then I don't know what we would be able to do, because Che Adams he tends to score about 10 goals a season, which is good, but it's whether we'll be able to match the goals with Ings with the team we've currently got.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think, obviously, looking at the games so far, Everton, Armstrong, great finish. United, you played well, to be fair, against United. Yeah. You can't doubt that.
It was their own goal, but it was a good shot. It was like a good...
that's fine. It wasn't given, but, he knows. Essentially, he got in the position, did all the work. Wasn't his goal, but, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Everyone knows he put the work in for that. And then Armstrong obviously could have won it, which...
Yeah.
That worries me, that, big situation, big moment, and he couldn't finish it off. Does worry me a little bit.
Yeah, because that's the type of chance you need to be finishing,
And, you can't help but think in your head that's the type of chance that Ings finishes.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get me wrong, we've made some decent signings in Walcott, Livramento, he's been good, and Armstrong obviously. Also signed Thierry Small like 2 days ago, I think, and then I don't know how to say his name, like Licho or something like that. He's a centre back, but it's not like we've signed anyone. Well, I know you could say we signed Walcott this season as well, but we haven't signed anyone who you're like, oh, geez, you haven't signed a star player.
Yeah.
Mainly because we don't want to spend 30 million on the player.
I think with this season, it was quite important that you sort of filled gaps more than bring in that quality.
Yeah,
you filled the gaps. Yeah. You filled, losing Bertrand, obviously. You had to fill that left back gap. Don't know how good, however you say Perraud, probably not Perraud, yeah, if you say it in French or whatever. But I don't know. Realistically, I don't know how good he is yet.
Yeah, I know he was in the, I don't know if he had to drop out in the end, but I know he was involved in the Tokyo French team for the Olympics.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, he must be, okay at least if he's in that. But, Livramento, good signing for you.
Yeah.
Didn't know how good he would be at Premier League level, but, he looks exciting. So.
Yeah, he looks good. Thierry Small, not too sure on him just because he's never played a professional match.
Again, filling a gap in terms of backups, I'd say.
Yeah. And he's 17 as well, so it's not a bad one.
Yeah. Also, another one that we haven't seen yet, Broja, who I think is injured. So that's on loan, but
yeah, he's a striker.
I'm excited to see. Yeah. When he's played, I mean, he hasn't played too much first team football for Chelsea. Here and there, he's played some few minutes. But, he does look exciting, and he looks like what you sort of need as, maybe as a backup, maybe as more if he turns out to be of that level. But
and Vestergaard, who left, he's injured.
Yeah.
And also Jankovic ended up going back to Young Boys as well.
He didn't have the best of times.
The only real memory we've got of him is the United games.
Yeah, 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
Had us fun.
So yeah.
But yeah.
And obviously Lamina's left for Nice as well. But I wouldn't be disappointed if we stay up this season. I wouldn't be disappointed just because of how I look at the team at the moment. Like I would still, as long as we stay up, I'd be happy because hopefully we could get new owners in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think that is the thing because when we were making our tables 2 weeks ago, I have actually changed mine because I wrote it down on holiday, just to explain.
Yeah.
And it's not with me anymore. I don't know where it's gone. But I had to make a new table, essentially. But I had Saints, I think, just above the drop before.
Yeah.
And
yeah, if I was to do it like now, I probably would put us at like 14th, to be honest. But we'll see where I put you in a minute. But yeah,
should we move on to the next one?
Let's go down to 15th now. I've put Norwich there, which I don't know if that is a good move, but
I've actually put you in 15th.
Okay.
So it's before when we did it before, I was genuinely struggling not to put you into the bottom three.
Yeah.
Now I think I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put you on one, just so it's not in the bottom three. But deep down, I thought you were gonna go down, and it's 2 games in, everything could still change, but it was looking more positive than it was previously, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think you look at Norwich. They signed Ben Gibson, Angus Gunn, like as an all right keeper, I guess. Billy Gilmore, obviously, we've already spoken about that a bit, but I think they are capable of finishing 15th. Like I don't think they'll go down, but then again, like you said earlier, like they haven't got a great team. Like even though they've got a few decent signings, they've not got an amazing team. So it's quite hard to tell, really.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Again, like Brentford, I don't want to see them go straight back down. However, I'm not sure whether they have the squad to keep them up at this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's go down to 14th. I got Palace at 14th. Who have you got?
I've got Brighton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because Brighton, I always used to, whenever we did table predictions, before, I've always said, Brighton are going to be down there. They maybe just about going to stay up. And they always just do better than I expect.
Yeah.
So I have put them in sort of better than I would expect. That's sort of where I aimed this team. Because I don't think Brighton are necessarily the greatest of teams. I think they've got a good manager in Graham Potter. And I think they've got, a good... They play a decent style of football as well.
Yeah.
However, I don't see any big signings they've made that will affect anything.
Yeah, I say Brighton are quite a solid team at the moment. Like if you just look at overall, like everything, including managers and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and another thing you can't sort of put too far past is the fact that they did lose Ben White.
Yeah.
Who we'll talk about more when we get to Arsenal. However, I think for Brighton it will be, they have got good defenders, so it won't be as big a loss as some people think. But he is a very good centre back, so he will be missed there.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on to 13th. I've put Wolves at 13th. Who have you put 13th?
I've gone with Watford.
Okay. Okay.
Watford are quite a bit higher than you had them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've. Well, we spoke about Watford. We'll go with Wolves instead.
Yeah, I think with Wolves, obviously, they're not in as good of a situation as they would have hoped from like a few years ago to now. But I don't know. I honestly don't really rate Traore that much as well.
He's good at certain
player,
things.
But I think he is overrated.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
he's missing a lot. I don't think it's harsh. I think he's missing a lot in his game, but the things that he is good at, he's very good at.
Yeah.
You look at their signings, Trincao on loan from Barcelona. I think that's decent business. I think he'll be decent for them.
And the manager, he's only managed
yeah.
Benfica for a season before at professional level. Obviously, just been assistants before.
That is something that you can't look past.
Yeah.
The other big change, obviously, from Rui Patricio, he's gone to Roma. So they've replaced him with Jose Sá from Olympiacos, who is relatively unknown. Don't really know too much about him.
If you look at all their signings, it's not like they've got any names that stick out. Like compared to who's left, they've got a few names which do stick out.
Yeah, I think they've just tried to, again, like other teams, fill gaps. I don't think they've got anything too special. Maybe the loan of Trincao could be, above average, but I think the rest of them are sort of just filling gaps.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go down to 12th. So I've got Leeds in 12th. Who have you got in 12th?
I've also got Leeds in 12th.
Okay, first one we've both got.
Yeah, so
let's find Leeds.
Leeds, they tell you what, Leeds are a difficult one again because they did pretty well last season. However, I do think certain people did overperform.
Yeah.
So I think, they might. Then again, they have improved their team in places.
I think I don't know how you say it, but Junior Firpo, is it?
Yeah,
I think he looks like a very good player.
Yeah, and I think if you looked at their squad last season, I think their biggest weakness was probably Alioski, left back.
Yeah.
And so Firpo coming in from Barcelona, it doesn't take a massive player to upgrade from Alioski. However, I do think that will be a good signing for them. I also think Jack Harrison, obviously he played there last season,
Yeah.
but
Big old hashtag.
yeah, but obviously he played there on loan from City, but
Yeah.
now they've actually signed him. I think he
I think
fits in well
good
there.
deal. Yeah, I think it's a good deal for them because he's already comfortable, and it's just he played well. He was a decent player last year as well.
Yeah.
I don't really know any of their other signings, so I'm not too sure.
Again, the only one I can
The rest.
say something about is Lewis Bate is another Chelsea youngster. He signed for a couple of million. He was looking good in youth games. Never
Was
got
he
anything further. Sorry?
What position does he play?
Mostly centre mid, I think. Although he has
Okay,
played.
okay.
Yeah, he's fairly versatile. I think he's played in a couple of positions, but I think centre mid was his go-to.
Yeah, probably just for. He's probably just a bit of a rotation player.
Yeah, young player, could be better than, could be of a good standard. Don't know yet, but again, another youngster that I'm interested to see how he does there.
Yeah. So let's go on to 11th. I've got Everton in the 11th. Who have you got?
I have Wolves. So spoken about Wolves.
Yeah.
Everton.
Yeah, Everton. So they've signed Townsend from Palace, Begovic from Bournemouth, Damari Gray. So they've got a few decent players, and the players they lost, like I guess
They haven't really lost anyone that actually got game time.
because
I'd argue.
Theo Walcott was already on loan, obviously.
Yeah. Balassi wasn't playing. Josh King wasn't playing. Like, I don't think they've lost any. Well, he played a little bit, but I don't think they've lost anyone that's actually important.
Yeah, obviously.
I wouldn't say they've upgraded too much. However, I do think, a lot of people have sort of been taking the mick out of their signings of Townsend and Gray. I actually think they're pretty decent signings. I don't mind them.
I agree. Yeah.
They're solid wingers who, on their day, can be quite good for a team. And I think with Everton, they've got quite a lot of players like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think they'll fit into their sort of level quite well.
Yeah, obviously they have a certain player who impersonated Adam Johnson, but
yes, yeah. So they have lost him.
Well,
I assume they've lost him anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen too much about it.
Yeah.
However, for the fact that he was playing for them quite a lot.
He was a good player.
Yeah, he is a good player, and they may, they will lose a lot from not having him. He who will not be named.
The man who shall not be named.
Yeah.
But so let's go down to 10th. I've put Brighton at 10th. Who have you got at 10th?
10th. I have. Did I just say Wolves in 11th?
You said Wolves 11th, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've got Everton in 10th.
Okay. Yeah, we kind of spoke about both of those already, so.
Yeah, we have.
Let's just go down to 9th. I've got Villa at 9th. Who have you got at 9th?
Yeah, I've got Villa as well.
Oh, second one we got.
We're in sync.
Okay, so let's have a look. Obviously they've lost Grealish.
It is a big loss. One. However, I think they've actually made some good signings as well.
Yeah, like Bailey, Ings, Ashley Young. He's been doing well at Milan. So
yeah, you look at Ashley Young. Essentially, Ashley Young's come in and he's starting to play regularly in left back by the looks of it. Just because Target's a bit off the level. Buendia, he's class, bit inconsistent, but I think he will have a good season there, especially when he's got people like Ings up there to thread the ball to.
You've also got Axel Turnzulby, is that how you say it? From United.
Yeah. He'll be a good centre back as well, I reckon.
Yeah.
He may only be back up with Villa already having two good centre backs, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how he does as well.
It is crazy though how 3 years ago, if we spoke about Ashley Young, like everyone would be saying, "Oh, he's terrible," but now he's like.
Yeah, I think it. Better. Yeah, obviously it was at probably United then, wasn't it?
I think.
Now he's then into Milan. Into Milan for a few years. and just come back to Villa to retire, I guess.
Yeah,
36 years playing.
Yeah, I don't know how he's
still week in, week out. But fair enough to him. It's nice to see a player back there after years.
There are rumours that when the bird shat in his mouth, he became better. But it's just a conspiracy. But let's go down to 8th.
Maybe.
So I've got West Ham in 8th. Who have you got?
I have Arsenal.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
I've dropped him out.
The thing is, I'm not like nowadays when someone says that, I'm not like that shocked that they're that low down.
I know it's not exactly like a massive surprise. We'll talk about Arsenal first then.
Yeah, you go Arsenal first.
Let me find the Arsenal signings. One up from Villa. So big one that they've made was probably Ben White, 50 million. Like I said, we'll talk about him now. Good signing, don't get me wrong. 50 million, not so sure.
Yeah.
But it was what Arsenal needed, I think. So, and you can't put a price on a vital player, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Odegaard as well, coming in, I think he'll be important for them to have around. He seemed to be a bit of a bright spark in what was otherwise quite a off team, I guess, last season.
Yeah. Yeah, with Arsenal, it's just like, I don't know how was it 4 years since like Wenger left, it was going downhill when Wenger was there, don't get me wrong. But since then it's almost gone like even further downhill.
I think, yeah, because they obviously Aubameyang he was sort of saving them, I think. He was the reason they weren't at this stage, and now he's not quite firing the same level.
Yeah, a lot of people think because he's now signed his big contract, his work rate is probably not the same.
He's not fighting for anything.
And that's not necessarily all his fault. That can just be internally. He's just not trying as hard as you would.
Mentally, you don't need to, so you don't.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've also, other couple of signings. Aaron Ramsdale, decent backup, I suppose. Can't really fault that one. Quite a lot of money considering they let Martinez go for less than that. But that happened. You can't really dwell on the past on that one.
Yeah.
Then you look at Sambi Lokonga. He's been starting for them, so not a bad signing, I guess. I don't think he's actually at the level of that Arsenal should be aiming for, personally. But with the level they found themselves in, I think he fits in all right.
Yeah, definitely. With West Ham, obviously they signed Areola. That's probably the big one. But apart from that, they haven't really signed many players who stick out. But they already had quite a solid team. Obviously, Lingard is the one loss you probably would go to. But I don't know. Yeah. I think they still have a solid enough team to finish 8th.
Yeah, I think the thing is they've clearly got something. Clearly something's going right for them because first couple of games of the season they've been really, really good. Antonio's been performing. Jared Bowen, he was a bit inconsistent last year. I thought at times he was amazing, and then at times didn't really notice him. So if he can come through, be a bit more consistent. I can see West Ham doing really well this season.
Yeah, definitely. Now let's go down to 7th. I've actually got Arsenal at 7th. Who have you got 7th?
I have West Ham.
Okay.
So
we literally just spoke about both of those.
Yeah. So we'll skip them then.
Let's go into the top six positions. So 6th, I've got Spurs. Who have you got at 6th?
I have Leicester.
Okay.
To be fair, 2 weeks ago I would have put Spurs.
Yeah.
However, I'm doing it obviously in the world where we know that Harry Kane's staying.
Yeah.
You didn't, so that's the only. To be fair, I am doing it knowing that Kane's staying.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've got Leicester 5th, and I probably would swap that around now. But that's what it is.
Either way around, it's. I think them two will be in those two positions. We'll just speak about them both because it's
Yeah.
opposites anyway. So Leicester have still been trying to find their Kante replacement for years. And they're trying another one in Samare, I think it is. Yeah, from Lille.
Yeah.
Who, he looks like the sort of Kante replacement they're maybe looking for. Patson Daka from Salzburg. Don't know too much about him, but he did well in that league, so he could be an interesting one as well. Then you're looking at Bertrand and Vestergaard.
Yeah. Obviously, Vestergaard's now. I don't know how long he's out for.
Yeah, probably not too long because they didn't make a massive deal of it.
Yeah, but I think both of them are very good players. Like Vestergaard as well. Even with the ball at his feet, he's good as well, and obviously heading. So
and I think
overall he's a great centre back.
With obviously in left back they were quite weak last year because Luke Thomas, good player, don't get me wrong, but he was young and he wasn't maybe ready to start every game like he was.
Yeah.
And then obviously this year they've had some injury crisis, I guess, in centre back. Obviously Vestergaard's only joined that, but when they signed him, looked a good signing. Even if it's just a backup, either way, I'd say that's a good signings for a Leicester team that are already doing well. Also, it's not a new signing, but Harvey Barnes coming back from injury will be vital for them.
Yeah, that's a good point as well.
And eventually James Justin as well. I don't know when.
Yeah.
What's going on with him? He had the ACL quite a while ago.
That was. Was that before international break? That was quite well back, wasn't it?
It was before Christmas, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Like it was a long time ago, but they do last a long time, so I'm not sure how quickly he'll be back or anything.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he comes back as well. Because after an ACL, it's not an easy. Like obviously nowadays, like before, if you had an ACL, it's kind of a career ending. But nowadays, you can get through it. But it would just be interesting to see if he's the same player.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, because he was really good before that as well. He was starting to really.
Yeah, he was starting to really become a solid player, and then he just does his ACL. But yeah, hopefully he'll be good when he comes back.
Yeah,
it's not nice to see.
Unlucky player, but.
Do you know how old he is?
He's like 21, 22 maybe.
Yeah, because I thought he was a very young player as well.
Yeah, so he's still got a lot of time left to come back.
Yeah.
Get back to where he was.
But yeah, with Spurs obviously, Rose, Gazaniga left, but they're neither it's not apart from they don't really have many solid players that left. Obviously, Alderweireld left as well, but.
Yeah, Alderweireld was playing a fair bit.
Yeah.
Lamela was, quite not a big part of their team, but he was, he came off the bench a lot, which was good for them to have, I guess, at the time.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that have really left that have made any difference. Obviously, signings-wise, Romero, centre-back from Atalanta. I don't know too much about him, but it can't hurt bringing in a new centre-back that, he's been playing international football, so he must be a decent player. Obviously, Galini, again, alone, keeper. Saw him play against Chelsea in that friendly a while ago. Nothing too special, but again, it's just a keeper in a friendly, so I can't really comment too much. And then Brian Gill. Don't know too much about him. He's a young player, part of the deal for Lamela, either way. Young player, so you can't really go wrong here.
What do you think about the manager now?
Yeah, I think that will be good. Obviously, they were really. Who did they have?
Mourinho, and then they had Ryan Mason, is it?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, since Poch left, they haven't really had a proper manager, in my opinion. I know.
To be fair, Mourinho didn't do too bad there.
He didn't do too badly, but I think with how, exciting their team was playing before that, I think he just came in and he sort of ruined what they had going almost.
Yeah.
Trying to bring a tactic in, and it's fair enough. He who doesn't want to change his ways, it will work at some clubs, and hopefully it works from at Roma. But I am excited to see Nuno because I think he's been a good manager in the Premier League for a while.
Yeah, definitely. So in fifth, obviously I've put Leicester, you've got Spurs. So let's go down to fourth. Who have you got in fourth position?
I have Liverpool.
Okay. So I have Chelsea in fourth.
Okay. I think the thing with the top four this year are like the only thing that I'm really sort of judging it off is the depth that I see the teams have.
Okay. I think in the top four, I wouldn't be surprised like what way round it is.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because I think there's all very I think between fourth and fifth there's a decent gap, but between fourth and first I think it's quite narrow. I think there's quite a few good teams there.
Yeah, it could be interesting because you see, like Chelsea last year, we beat Man City like 3 times.
Yeah.
However, they obviously beat us overall. Obviously, Liverpool beat us. We finished fourth. But with Liverpool specifically, I think they've brought in some decent players. In terms of player Konate.
Yeah.
Only him, but I think they've got some good, decent centre backs now. Van Dijk comes back, obviously. Gomez comes back. They've got a good defence again, which will, give Arnold a bit more of a license to go forward again. Same with Robertson. They wasn't necessarily missing last year, but it wasn't there at the same capacity. Because realistically, it's not the same having Nat Phillips as it is having Van Dijk. It's just a fact.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And it just gives other players a bit more confidence. Obviously, also, the only thing that I would say, losing Wijnaldum, he was playing pretty much every game. That'll be a vital loss. Thiago hasn't quite settled in the Premier League. If he can, I'd potentially put them up the spot. But because at Bayern he was incredible. Yeah, didn't quite have it last year for Liverpool to that level anyway.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Obviously with Chelsea, you signed Bettinelli, and obviously the big one is Lukaku. Are there any players who you've lost who you're like disappointed in losing, or?
I wouldn't say disappointed. I'd say there's a couple of the youth players that I would have liked to see potentially be loaned out instead of sold. However, I do think that we probably end up loaning out half of our squad if that was the case. If we loaned out every player that could potentially become something, because everyone's saying, "Oh, Livramento, you shouldn't have let him go." However, he wouldn't have played for Chelsea because James is there.
Yeah.
Same with Lamptey. That all these players, we've made some money off them, and we've got an option to buy them back if they do turn out to be really good.
What about Giroud? Do you think Giroud's time was to go, or?
I think it was his time to go. Not because I wanted him to, but for him, I think it was his time to go.
Yeah.
Because he deserved for the last couple of years to get first team football at a club, to be playing more, and he actually probably deserved to be starting most games last year for us with how he played. He never failed to perform for us.
Yeah.
He turned up in big moments, and I will definitely miss him. But I think for him, going to was AC Milan, right?
Yeah, he went to AC Milan.
Yeah. Going there, I think it'll be very good for him, to be honest. He'll get regular game time, hopefully. And he can just sort of play the last few years of his career and actually play.
What about Tammy Abraham? What did you think about him going as well to Roma? That was very bad.
It's sad that it hasn't worked out, but he's just with where we want to go with the squad. We won the Champions League. We want to win the leagues. We want to win cups. We want to win trophies. And I don't think Abraham is consistent enough, or is good enough actually, to be a starting striker for a club of our level. I don't think many people would argue with that.
Yeah, that is a fair point. Obviously you've loaned out Batshuayi again, but at this point you probably should just sell him.
I think the problem is that we're not actually able to sell some of these players because they're on such high wages. They have to drop so much.
Because you probably are still you're probably paying like 30% or a certain percentage of his wages as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and let's be honest, he's not gonna just go, oh, I'll go down to 50k a week or whatever he has to go down to.
Yeah, when they can just wait out the rest of the loan and still go there on loan, but just wait out the contract.
Yeah.
Instead.
Do you know how much longer he's got?
No idea.
Okay.
But it can't be too long.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so because it was quite a while back he signed a deal, I think.
Yeah, I think it would be good for him to actually get to a club where he can, become a proper part of a team.
Yeah.
Rather than just, a player that comes in, leaves.
Yeah, I'd be like a proper player, not just a Twitter. As a king of Twitter. No, I want him to do well because then his Twitter becomes better. Let's go down to third now. So I've put United at third. Who have you got on third?
I've also got United.
Okay, so let's go down to United. It's obviously Lingard coming back. Do you think? I know he went on as a sub. Was it last game or the game before?
Was it against you? I think.
I can't remember if he. I think first game he definitely did. I'm
99% sure he came on after Sancho came on against Saints as well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. What do you think about him coming back? Do you think he'll get much chance, or do you think?
I think it's sad that he's come back personally. I think at West Ham, you saw a new sort of lease of life in him, and some people will argue, he could do that at United again still. He could, and if he does, then fair enough. But he's never going to play ahead of Bruno. I hate Bruno with a passion. Not ability-wise, I think he's a great player. I don't like him, but he's never going to be in there ahead of Bruno, is he?
No, I don't know. I would like to know what the discussion was when he was talking about staying, like what they've promised him, or because I don't see what can benefit him, because he could have gone to West Ham, whether it's a wage thing or not, I don't know, but maybe I don't know, but maybe he'll leave halfway through the season, I guess, if he doesn't have game time, but
maybe he's got something in place if it doesn't work out. Who knows?
Yeah. Obviously, Varane and Sancho are the big ones they've signed. Tom Heaton, just there.
Backup is what it is.
Backup. He's decent. He's not bad keeper, so it's not.
Yeah, he's a decent backup.
Yeah.
Sancho and Varane. Sancho, couple of he's played a few minutes here and there so far. Hasn't done anything special yet. Not that he won't, because he has, played for teams in and around England before, so he knows how the style of football is. The only thing I'd worry about in terms of, for a United fan, for Sancho, is you've seen the exact same thing of players coming from the German league to Chelsea. I'm not saying it will happen, because it may be different, but Werner Havertz took a long time to get used to it, and they're starting to get there now.
I think maybe the fact that he was part of the England teams made it a tiny bit different, and that he grew up in England as well. I think maybe because of the physicality that might have made a little difference. Yeah, he'll understand, because I think a lot of these players probably don't understand the league too well until they get there.
I think that is the thing though, because I think when he's played for England, I think he hasn't actually been the Dortmund Sancho we've seen for England at any point.
Yeah.
And
yes,
I think it is just because of the slightly weaker defences, different things as in the German leagues. But I'm not saying it's going to happen because it might be different. Like you say, there is a lot of different factors to it.
Yeah, I think they just need to give him time, and I think there's a high chance he will end up performing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. He's up against a lot of people. He's not the main player like he was at Dortmund, and that is a thing for a lot of people. Some players, thrive on the fact that the team is built around them and to fit everything they do.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And yeah, we'll see. Varane obviously as well. Good signing. He was sort of slacking a little bit at Real Madrid from his previous form before he left. But, you can't deny that it's a decent signing.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go down to second. Who have you got?
I have Chelsea in second.
Okay, I've got City. So obviously City have signed, unreal player Scott Carson. Now Jack Grealish, obviously, he hasn't really performed so far. If you look at the 2 games which have happened, I know he scored last. Did he score?
He scored that little one that it came off the post or something onto his leg or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't lucky. But...
Fair enough. You can't really say too much about it. I don't necessarily think Grealish is a bad player. No, sorry, I don't think he's a bad player. I just think because of everything that's happened with England, I think he's just become massively overrated without actually doing anything to deserve being overrated.
Yeah, he's got a good TikTok account.
Yeah. I think he'll.
I
think he will come around, and he will. There'll be good moments, but I think. Again, I think he's a player that thrives off being the centre of a team.
The thing is with Grealish as well, is because he's a nice player to watch, so he's always going to get rated higher than other players, just because if you're just watching him play, it's quite enjoyable.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting again to see how he does, but I can see people like Mahrez and Foden, and still at the moment Bernardo Silva, he might go, but
yeah.
They've got a lot of good wingers, and actually, to be fair, they have been playing him centre mid.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't really know why. I think he'd be better on a wing, personally.
Yeah, but if you look at players like, obviously, I'm not comparing these two, but if you look at like Antonio and a player like Grealish, Antonio is the type of player who's more about just the end product. When you have players who are more skillful, like Grealish, like. They're obviously more exciting to watch, so they end up being, rated a lot higher. So it'll be interesting to see if he does improve. Like now he's in a better team, if he will end up improving, or it'll be like with Zaha, where you can't really play if you don't have a team around you.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's move on to top position. Who have you got?
I have City first, so.
I've got Liverpool first.
Obviously, we talked through their teams. What do you think puts Liverpool above the rest?
I think. Thing is, I think obviously Liverpool signed Konate, is that how you say his name? From Leipzig. He's a good player. They haven't really made any other signings, but I think City have lost some important players. If you look at Aguero, like I know he's normally injured for a bit, but Aguero is one of those players who, when he does play, he will score for you. And I think with the problems with like Grealish and how they haven't played extremely well so far, like their first game was it Arsenal?
Yeah.
Was it? They drew that one, didn't they? Like 2-2, was it? I'll just get up on my phone.
No, it was Tottenham. They lost
against
against Tottenham. No, sorry, this is Liverpool.
Oh no, talk about City. I'm just comparing.
They are talking about City. They lost against Tottenham in their first game.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Yeah. So like really you would expect them to be dominating a bit more. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think it will be close between top four. By the way, again, like you say. I think Guardiola knows how to manage a team, and I think he's got a very good squad, and he tends to be able to, although I think Chelsea, Man United, and Liverpool probably have squads that are almost as good, maybe better, certain places as City. I think Guardiola knows how to run that team and how to keep them going for a full season, and that's why they struggle in Champions League final, for example.
Yeah.
But they can keep going for the season to a solid level.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was our table predictions. Now we're going to do a top assister prediction and a top scorer prediction. I haven't searched this up, so I'm just thinking top of my head. I feel like it would be Lukaku, a top scorer. What do you?
I think Lukaku's definitely a shout. I think, first game he's already shown what he can bring to a team. Just constantly holding off centre-backs. Obviously, Arsenal aren't necessarily in the best form, so it's hard to judge. However, you can only judge off what you've seen. I think it's going to be close, but just to be different from you, I'm going to go with Kane again.
Okay, yeah, to be fair, that's a good shout as well.
I wouldn't have said it if he was at City, purely because I don't think he'll get every single game if he's at City.
So do you think if he was to play every single game at City, do you think he would be better suited at City or better suited at Tottenham for just scoring goals?
I think he would score more at Tottenham still.
Okay.
Because I think the actual style of play, suits Kane more at Tottenham. However, obviously, there is more to it than that, and that's why Tottenham aren't in this contention for the league, in our opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Kane. You've gone with Lukaku.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, other ones, which would have been a decent shout. Probably
Salah.
Would Martial be? Do you think Martial possibly?
No, I don't think he'll even be. No, because I don't think he will necessarily even start every game. I think they'll play like Sancho on the wing and then Greenwood up front.
Yeah, I think if he gets top 5, he's done well.
Yeah, I'd say Salah is a standard. He'll get goals.
Yeah.
Bruno will probably be up there or around there at least.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's move on to most assists. Who do you think will be the top assister?
It's difficult. Again, there's a few names that come to mind. People like De Bruyne, people like Fernandes.
Yeah.
However, I think the slight thing with Man City where you could just not play for a game. I'm actually gonna go with neither of those. I'm gonna go with the same as my scorer, like last season. I'm gonna go with Kane.
Okay. Yeah.
He got both last season.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to go Bruno, just because I think he will keep his place consistently. When a lot of these other teams will have players rotate and come out for a game, but I think Bruno will probably play, out of the 38 games, he'll probably play at least 35 unless he gets injured.
There's no reason to bring him out, essentially.
Yeah, so those are two. Obviously,
one thing I would like to add on, Golden Glove, who do you think will have the most clean sheets?
What, player or team?
Well, so obviously the Golden Glove is given to the keeper of the team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. The player, I guess, the way you go off that. While still thinking, I'm going to go with Alisson. I know I'm predicting them for 4th, but I can see Liverpool either, winning games like 3-0 or just struggling.
Yeah, I'd probably go Ederson.
Sounds stupid, but Ederson, fair enough.
I think those two are I think those two. I think it will be one of those two.
Yeah, I think Mendy's definitely in with a shout with how well he did last season.
Yeah.
When he came in, I think only Edison was better than him statistically. Last season, over the time from when he played onwards. So.
Yeah. So those were our. Anything else you want to say?
No.
So we did our predictions, our score, our top scorer. So I went Lukaku, you went with Kane. Then assister, you went with Kane, I went with Bruno. And then Golden Glove, you went Alisson, and I went Edison. So that was our. We'll do another podcast. Will be out next week. But yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust.
Thank you for listening to Football Experience. We also have social medias you can follow. Our TikTok is at the Football Experience. Twitter is the Football Experience XP. The Instagram is v.footballexperience. We're also on many different podcast platforms. We're on YouTube, Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocketcasts, RadioPublic as well. We also have a website which is thefootballexperiences.co.uk, so it's got an S on the end. And yeah, thank you for listening and all the support. If you can leave us any reviews or anything, that would be great. Reviews on Apple are so useful. And yeah, thank you for all the support.